Oh, hey guys, DIY Maniac here. So today we're going to have a little DIY how-to for changing a headlight bulb on a Chevy Cobalt. My particular Cobalt is a 2008, but the procedure is the same for all Cobalts 2005 through 2010, as well as Pontiac G5s. Process does not change whether it's a 4-door or a 2-door. Headlight assemblies are all the same. The light bulb that we are going to be changing is our high low beam light bulb. The model number of the light bulb is a 9007. You could pick up a replacement at any automotive store. The replacement I got is a Sylvania 9007. It was about $10 Canadian. And I'm going to detail how to go about changing the bulb. On this particular model car, the headlight assembly needs to be removed in order to have access to remove the bulb. Not the most practical, but not a hard feat either. A little tricky to get it out, and sometimes a little bit tricky to get it back in. In my particular case, made even more of a challenge because my bumper is a little off. It looks like someone had nudged it a couple of years ago in a parking lot. No paint damage, but it definitely moved the bumper a bit. You can kind of see the fitment around the light is not the greatest, so the bumper got moved a bit, which causes the headlight assembly to be pinched, which makes removing it sometimes a little more difficult. Now, once again, I said mine's a 2008, thus making my car now 7 years old. I've got about 125,000 kilometers on it, and this is the first time changing the light bulb on it. I have had the light housing assemblies removed prior when I repainted the bumper. Now, when it comes to fasteners that will need to be removed, there's a total of 2 for the headlight housing and 3 for the front grille. Now, in a lot of videos you're going to watch, they don't make mention of removing these 3 fasteners to be able to give you wiggle room on the grille. I find it was necessary, especially in my case, because as mentioned, my bumper is not perfectly straight. I needed to remove those clips so I could move the bumper back in order to slide the housing out. So the 2 fasteners on the headlight itself are 2 10mm bolts. There's one here and one over here. The 3 clips that need to be removed for the grille, there's many clips on the grille, but in my case I only removed 3 of them to give me that wiggle room I needed. Was one here, one up here in the front beside the bump stop for the hood, and another one over here. I'll pan out a bit so you could see all 3. These are pretty much standard GM clips. So what you would do, I'm going to try to do it with my hands, if not I'll go get a screwdriver, is you pull up on the center portion, which is a pin, that then takes pressure off the expansion part so you could pop the whole thing out. On this one I've already popped it out so you could see how it works. So the center portion pops out and then the whole clip could be removed. I guess we normally would say easily, but in my case it's not going to be easy when I'm trying to do it for a video. There we go. And there's the clip as we see it. So the way it works is you insert that into the hole, and when you push the pin down, it causes the clip to expand, locking it in place. So there's 3 of those. So I'm going to go and remove the other 2, and then we'll continue the video. So now those 3 clips are removed, and I'm going to show you why in my case I removed them. It's to give you basically a kind of wiggle room here so you can pull back the grille a bit, thus giving you a little more space to slide that light housing out. Because it's not in there tight, but it's in there enough. So I found that made the job a lot easier. To remove our 2 fasteners on the light, once again the 2 10mm that are on the light itself, 1 and 2. So you're just going to basically use your ratchet, socket, and extension just to loosen those up. So I'll go ahead and take those out. Okay, so now we're going to remove the housing. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab it. Now we have to keep in mind there are 2 clips underneath that slide in. They're not fasteners, they're guides that slide it in, so we have to wiggle those free. So what we're going to do is grab the corner. We're going to get it loose. As you can see, it's starting to come loose. We're going to pull our grill back, and we're going to wiggle her out. Now, you don't have to be overly gentle with it, but at the same time, we don't want to force anything and break it, because that would not be fun. So we're going to work her out. Takes a little bit of work to get it out, I'm not going to lie to you. And there we go. She's out. As you can see the back now. So I'm going to come get the camera and show you what we're looking at now. So now the headlight assembly is removed. As you can see, all the wiring in the back, it runs off one main harness, and all the wires for the individual lights feed into that. Turn signal, headlight, low beam, high beam, as well as the marker light. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect that main connector right there. So I'll go ahead and disconnect that, and I'll be right back. The headlight assembly is now removed. I disconnected the main wire harness from the assembly and put it over here to work on. So there's what we're looking at. So the headlight is the bigger one over here. There's first a retaining, I guess you want to call it retaining cup, I don't know what we could call it, that needs to be removed. It's this big black thing here. You're going to turn it counterclockwise to unlock it to allow you to remove the light bulb. Also, we're going to want to disconnect the wire connection to the bulb itself. It's that blue connector here. As you can see the way the clips are, you pull these back and that'll allow you to slide the connector off. So I'm going to remove the connector first, and then I'm going to show you how to remove this black retainer over here. Okay, so the wire connector is removed from the bulb. You can now see the bulb. We can now see the retainer over here. So like I said, we're going to turn it counterclockwise. If you find it's hard to turn, which sometimes it is, as you can see there's notches in it. I don't know how well you can see that. You could put a screwdriver in there to help you give leverage to turn. In my case, it's not that hard. Sorry guys, I'm gonna try to film this as I turn. It's hard with one hand. Let's try that on this side. Block out my leg, and there, as you can see, I remove the retainer. That's the retainer there. It comes off. So we'll put that aside. And now we're looking at just the light bulb. The light bulb is just sitting in place, so we're just going to pull it out. And as you can see, there's the light bulb. That's the original from the factory Philips light bulb. And we could definitely see by the discoloration on the bulb itself that it is burnt. Now in my case, it was only the low beam that was burnt. The high beam was still working. It was just the low beam that had burnt out. So that's it there. So now you can see inside the housing itself with the bulb removed. So as I said, I'm going to be replacing it with a Sylvania 9007 light bulb that I picked up at my local Canadian Tire. So let me go get that. So here's the replacement bulb, the Sylvania HB5 9007. As you can see, brand new. Make sure, and very important with these halogen bulbs, do not touch the lens, the glass, with your fingers. The oils from your finger will cause premature failure of the bulb. You have the rubber O-ring that creates the seal. What I like to do is put a little dielectric grease around that O-ring, just to make it easier in the future if you ever have to take out. Tell you the truth, you really don't have to put the grease. I just like doing things overkill, and that's just the way I am. So I put a little bit on. As you can see, it's a little shiny, very thin film. Just allow it to slide in a little easier, and it's the way I prefer to do it. So we're going to take our new bulb. We're going to bring it in. We're going to insert it into the housing, and we're going to push it in. So the rubber O-ring is seating. We're going to orient it to its proper orientation. As you can see on the light bulb itself, on the black, there's little notches. And on the housing, there are little tabs. So you line those up. Now you know you're in the right orientation. So the new bulb is installed. We now get our retainer that we had previously taken out. And we're going to put it into place. It comes in down over here. As you can see, there's little tabs inside that are going to line up, and we're going to turn it clockwise to lock it into place. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed, and I am. And we turn it clockwise, and that locks it into place. So now we're locked in. The last step is to take, well, last step of this particular part is to take our light bulb wiring connector and push it onto our new light bulb. It'll snap into place as such. As you can see, the tabs are now locked in. Our new light bulb is installed. So the next step now is to install the housing back into the car. I want to show you, this is the part I was talking about underneath the housing. You can see there's these little guides, little tabs. One here and one here. And what those do, if you come look in the opening on the car, they slide into these grooves. You got the one groove here, you got another groove here. It's just to help the housing be proper oriented into the cavity to make sure for proper headlight alignment and fitment with the bumper and fender and hood. So I'm going to go grab the housing and we're going to put that into place. Now what I like to do before installing the housing into its place and its final resting place, I want to make sure that new light bulb is working, that the wiring didn't get messed up anyhow. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the light switch to make sure everything's functional before we set it all up. So we'll come over here. You can see the reflection on the garage door if the lights are working. So we got first parking lights. Orange comes on. Headlights on. High beams on. Now obviously the alignment, as you can see, is off on the garage door, but that's because the housing's not in its proper place. It's pointed upwards a bit. So we can come over here and we can see that in fact the light bulb is on. There's the old one. Dirty, that's why it might look not as bright. But definitely a newer light bulb is going to be brighter. I mean, should they be changed in pairs? Yeah, probably. But you know what? I don't feel the need to. Never really saw a big difference as far as brightness between the two. So I'm just changing out the one. So we'll come and we'll turn off those lights and let that GM warning buzzer turn off. So yeah, high beams as we said, and lights off. So now we could install the housing, fix it into its place. So the installation is pretty much the reverse of removal. You just want to make sure, like I said, that you're getting those two tabs on the bottom into their proper slots. So we're just going to layer into place. It's going to be reverse removal, so we'll get that interior corner in first. We're then going to push down to get our final corner in over here. And as I said, we want to make sure that bottom tab is in. And there we go. She's in her final resting place. So as you can see, the installation was quite easy. And I credit that always to removing those three tabs. I just find it's easier. It gives you that flexibility that you need. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting with it. And in the end, you might possibly end up hurting the grill or even cracking it. So as we can see now, everything's back into place. So all that's left to do is to put our two 10mm fasteners back in to secure the housing in place. So we'll go and grab those. So we'll take our fasteners. We'll come over here. A little anti-seize on the fasteners never hurts anything, especially in Canadian climates with all the road salt and other fun stuff. Things tend to rust up and seize up pretty quickly. So we're going to get those in. So I'm not going to show you that. I'll just go ahead and get my ratchet and socket and tighten those up. And then I'll come back to reinstall the three clips that were removed. Okay, so the two 10mm fasteners are secured. You don't want to over torque them. So just hang tight, snug them up. That's good enough. So now we're going to go ahead and put the three fasteners in, the plastic clips. We got the one small and two large. The small one comes over here in the front beside the headlight. So I'm going to show you how these ones work. As you can see, the same as we removed it. Pin is out. And we're going to insert it into the hole. So it goes down. And then we're going to push down on the pin. As such. And that's it. And the... Ooh, we just lost one. The two bigger ones are the same thing. We're going to put it in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of wiggle. And you're going to get that in. And then you're going to push down on the pin. And that locks it into place. So we'll get the one we dropped. And that goes into this hole here. The two big ones, doesn't matter which hole they go in. They're the same size. And we push down. And it's locked into place. So as you can see now, all the fasteners are in. The two bolts are in. Snugged up. Our new light bulb is installed. Now we'll come back over. I always like to double check my work. So we're going to come back over and turn the lights on. Make sure everything's still working. So we got our corner lights, orange, coming on. are headlights and high beams and headlight. And as we can see on the garage door, the alignment is perfect. Like I said, don't pay attention to the headlight on the right. It is extremely dirty, and I cleaned up the one on the left, so that's why we're seeing a light difference. So there we go. Those are all installed. So that was an easy installation. So thanks again for watching, guys. That was the installation of a headlight on a 2008 Chevy Cobalt, but applicable for all Cobalts from the range of years of 2005 to 2010, as well as Pontiac G5s. So thank you very much for watching. Keep looking out for new videos, new how-tos, new DIYs. I'll be putting them up as soon as I can. Have a great day.